Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary.
You are listening to
Kayak Adventure Series.
Kayak Adventure Series. This is where you choose your own adventure. You want to be offshore, you want to be shallow, you want to go up the
You want
creek,
to have a kayak that is sophisticated,
or a kayak that is simple.
you get to choose your own adventure.
On the Susky, that's a micro bag. I hope you brought the family. This is going to be wild. Hey, this adventure is going to be amazing. We added some noises at the end, everyone. There they are. They're chimpanzees. I can guarantee you there's no chimpanzees on the Susquehanna River. I've been there a few times. This is for August 9th and 10th. Preview show for the Fiesta on the Susky. 150 miles of water. Drew, the North Branch, from everything I've looked at, from everything I've seen, it is beautiful, and I'm so excited about this event. What do you guys think? What's up, guys?
No, not much, man. I'm excited. Jake's wearing his Smalley shirt appropriately.
Yeah,
That's what the main bass you'll see scored on the Fiesta on the Susky, the big party. But I tell you what, man, you can see monkeys. Not there, but did you know there are monkeys in the U.S. on some of the rivers down in Florida? You know this, Billy. You've been down there. But there are monkeys that they released them during the Tarzan movie, and they have lived there, and they are spreading. They're all over Florida now. You can randomly see them all over Florida. But Silver Springs is the place if you really want to see those chimpanzees and the monkeys. Well, technically they're just monkeys.
That reminds me of the wild parrots that live in Austin. I don't know if you knew that, but there's wild parrots that live in Austin.
I heard about that too.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
They used to like fly around my house, and I'm like living in the jungle.
Yeah, you got bats in Austin. You got parrots. You got all the anacondas in the Everglades. We've got all the cichlids and the tropical fish that shouldn't be down there in the Everglades. It's wild what's happening in our world. But hey, we're just here to talk bass, so I guess we'll get to it, because this is the official Fiesta on the Susky preview show. We're excited to have a full lineup of guests. So today I'll just run it down. We got Hans from Bonafide coming on. We got Robyn with Bradford County Tourism, Keith with Endless Mountain Outfitters, Jeff Little's going to come on representing Boonedox, and just Jeff Little himself. He knows a lot about that river. He's going to talk about it with Jordan Welliver, Dustin Theobald, and Ryan VanTine. And then Kevin is going to end the show with 5 Star Heating and Air, a very cool story, and how he got involved with this event. So cannot wait to share it all with you guys. And one thing I wanted to do real quickly with the news and notes, Billy, this news and notes section, I'll run through that. But one thing I wanted to do, and you guys help me with this, on every one of these preview shows, I got to make sure I at least pull up and share the screen. I think I've done it on all of them, and just scroll down that website page just one time, just to quickly show everyone an overview of the website and the pages and how they can clearly see the itinerary and what's happening at every event, hour by hour, if they want to see it by that. The directions, restaurants are linked, venues are linked with Google Maps. Yeah, there you go. It's almost like you're a producer that knows what he's doing, man. So yeah, guys, don't forget that the website has everything. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is just because when running a tournament, I want to make sure it's very clear. There's no confusion, right? So what we've done is there's only one place you could ever find any of your detailed information about this tournament, and it is on that webpage. It's not on TourneyX. It's not in an email. It's not anywhere else. And that way, when something changes, if it changes and it has to do with the actual tournament itself, the competitive side of this thing, we're going to make that change and put it in red and keep it there for a year. So if you happen to see that page today, and then you didn't go back and look before the tournament, you can just double check that nothing changed in red that might affect your chances that actually the competitive part of the event. So we want to make sure we notate those in red, not just make a change and then don't tell anybody about it and you don't know where to find it on Facebook. Where is it? It's always on that site right there. Okay. That helps you guys. So news and notes. Let's get into the news and notes real quick. Not many. So I am excited, guys, to announce that we have a new kayak sponsor on board, and we're going to announce who that is next week on next week's show when we actually preview the Wisconsin Riverfest. So that's going to be exciting, announcing that kayak sponsor, because that's the brand we're going to raffle off for the pediatric cancer and to raise money for our charity. So that's pretty cool. And so every single stop has a kayak manufacturer that's an official sponsor of the event that we highlight at each event. Speaking of sponsors, it's crazy, how to let you guys in a little insight of how this works. It's no different than, tournament angler sponsorship, Bassmaster Pros, Major League Fishing, Kayak-Anglers have sponsors. Things get, things change with kayak manufacturer. Sorry, not kayak manufacturers, but manufacturers in general. They change all the time. So unfortunately, some things have changed with Black Rifle Coffee, new ownership. They went public, they've changed, and they're kind of pulling out of fishing altogether. So the previous guy I kind of talked to there, had committed to at least helping us out with some coffee for those breakfast seminar series, but that's going to change. So the reason I bring it up is because if you guys know anyone out there, a coffee sponsor would be really cool for the event. Obviously I can cold call and we don't have to have one, but I'm just letting you guys know, if you know of anyone that would be a good fit, let me know. And speaking of that, this kind of leads into Kevin at the end of the show here. If anybody out there has a company or works with somebody or knows somebody that want to sponsor the series, I mean, Jake, you're wearing a Smalley shirt right there, and that's part of the Ashegan brand, right? And then when we had Josh on from Ashegan, I saw several people were already buying apparel and merchandise and the Mudbug hats, right? Already, so many people bought them already, and that was just having him on for a brief moment on the show. So obviously we're here to help kind of support all the brands that support us. So if you guys know of somebody like Kevin at the end of the show did, a little teaser, then let us know. We'd love to work with them and help, promote their brands. And of course, their brands being in the same, breath as the other big brands, the GoPros and Toyotas and the Real Trees and Smith Optics and you name it, all the brands. When you look at our sponsors, our giant sponsor list, that's pretty cool. So we want to help those brands grow as well. So reach out. We're interested. We're happy to talk to them about all different sponsorship levels. There's lots of ways they can be a part of the event, even if it's donating some product to fill those prize bags where you guys are getting $100 worth of product if you're the first 100 anglers to register. So speaking of registration, I just got a text. It should be open right now, but it's still, someone's saying it's still showing closed on Tourney X, but it should. Amanda is usually right on that at 11 a.m. So maybe if they refresh, it'll be live, but it should be live right now at 11 a.m. to register for the Fiesta on the Susky. Next up here is next note here. Let me see what else I had here is
while Drew's pulling up his notes. Wait, if you guys don't have anyone for the coffee will be sponsored by Billy Kayaks, and it'll be Folgers, most likely through my Keurig. So if you don't find someone, it's going to be Folgers. That's what I drink. So
there you go. No, we can definitely do that. For sure. Might be working on some brewery sponsorships too at these events, kicking off, trying to pitch an idea because at Shoaly Palooza, there's a brewery out there that makes an IPA called, I believe it's an IPA called the Shoaly, right? Shoaly. So working on an idea to contact breweries in all these areas, right? And then see if they want to create a new brew, new beer, whatever, and hype it up and announce it and reveal it at that each tournament stop, and they'll be our official beer sponsor, and they can name it after the river or the fish or something that would appeal to people in that community long-term, not just that one event, obviously a long-term. So people in Georgia love to buy the Shoaly just because part of the proceeds of that beer go towards that shoal bass. And speaking of Shoaly Palooza, the last note I want to mention, last week I did say that we will be adding the primitive camping. Riverbend primitive camping has been added to the Shoaly Palooza site. So if you're interested in that, you can go check it out and contact Jared. And then, that's about it. I think that's it for news and notes. So let's just get into it. I think we got, unless you guys have anything else you want to mention on the news and notes side of things.
I do not.
No.
All right. So I guess we got to get into the show here right on time.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event.
GoPro highlight. There we go.
Billy, you've been working, man.
Man, I'll tell you what are we going to do? And then I was so hyped up to do that, I forgot. Oh, it's Hans, our first guest. Before we bring him in, I just want to say a little bit. If you guys have not got a chance there's some people that you meet and you can just listen to them talk forever about their craft. Jeff Little obviously is one of those people. And our next guest, or our first guest, Hans, is one of those people that you can just listen to him talk about kayak and kayak design all day. Drew, I'll let you say whatever you want to say as I bring him in. What do you think, Drew?
It's a pretty good intro to Hans right there, man. But he is definitely had his hands in many of the watercraft that you guys out there are fishing out of and have fished out of, including a lot of the newest, latest, and greatest stuff from Bonafide, which, by the way, of course, is our headline sponsor for the kayak manufacturer for the Fiesta on the Susky. All right. What's up, Hans?
Awesome. How are you guys doing?
Awesome, man. We're doing good.
Cool.
Doing good.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you. We can hear you good.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Awesome. Yeah, I can hear you all great. Great.
Perfect.
Yeah,
we're just excited for this event.
This is exciting. I saw the when you initially approached me about it, Drew. I was just pretty excited to when I saw the Susky event. I was like, that's perfect for Bonafide. So I think it's going to work out great.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you actually are you were smartly, very wisely, I might say, of all the kayak manufacturers. You said right off the bat, you were like, hey, I want to be the headline sponsor of that event, because you know like how amazing the turnouts are on the Susquehanna, and it's just a destination for so many people across the country, so many kayak anglers. So that was a pretty smart move, I will say that. And you got the great new boats. But before we get into the boats, just tell us a little bit about your role and what you do for Bonafide, and give us a little bit of even a history on kind of where you've been in the industry and up to this point.
Yeah, sure. That sounds great. I'll go kind of quick. You know, I'm a product designer. I've been designing kayaks for well over 10 years. Started off in whitewater kayaks, but most recently, you know, I would say, well, really the bulk of it, I've been doing fishing kayaks. And river fishing for me is kind of at the heart of my what I like to do when I go fishing. So, you know, we started Bonafide back in 2017. And the initial designs came out, and man, they were a ton of work, but we've just been carrying it forward. The past couple years, I've been really focused on like just carrying that work on with the new boats, the PWR, the RVR, and that. But product design for me is just about problem solving. It's about listening to the customer, listening to what people are looking to do, and watching you guys, really take these designs and do just unbelievable things with them. So I'm in awe at sort of what you guys do with them once you get them home and start rigging them out. And so, hey, I'm here for the party as it is.
Well, it's going to be a party. There's no doubt about that. And when we talk to Robyn in a little bit, you will soon find out. I've done a site visit, which I do with all the venues, and it was one of the best times I've ever had visiting that part of, the Susquehanna River up there in Towanda, Pennsylvania. I mean, the venue that I don't want to get into it all now, but, just being right, everything's right there together on the river. So it's going to be easy. It's going to be an awesome party. We'll talk about it more with her. So, and if you can't make it up, I sure hope you can. But if you can't, someone from Bonafide will definitely be there representing you guys. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of anglers there. And whether they're pro staff or you guys are just fishing in your awesome boats. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
I'm going to be there. I'm coming.
Right.
I'm bringing some boats. I'm coming with coffee. I'll be making coffee after we get off the water every night, and that, or we'll find a brewery, one of the two. Beer, coffee.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to be there, and can't wait. I love the Susquehanna. I don't, get to fish it, as much as I'd like to, because I'm down here in South Carolina, but this is the perfect excuse to get up there and fish, and hopefully we'll get to hang out up there. So, yeah.
Well, especially when it's so hot down in South Carolina. I used to live there, so believe me, I know. August is going to be really hot, so it's a great chance, and the fishing starts to get pretty tough. Obviously in the middle of the summer in the South, but that's not true up north. It's on fire. That's what the water temperature is the right level. It's not too hot for them where they just get in a funk and they just eat all summer long, eat the bugs.
I don't think the Susky fish stop eating from ever, pretty much. I think they're just constantly eating.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I agree. Taking advantage of that short window they have that, to just where their metabolism is really going in that warm water. But actually, we'll share another story later with one of our guests that he was fishing in 42-degree water there, and the number of fish they caught up there in the winter, it's 3 digits and over in just 7 hours of fishing. So trust me, they're still eating in the winter too, if you know where to look for them. But we figured we'd put this event, in the summer, as kids are out of school, we can have a big party, be a little bit more comfortable than, air temperature in the 30s and 40s. So, it'll be a little bit better that way. So we're excited about it. And we're excited about the kayaks. This is the thing, Hans, you guys have come out. I mean, the Big Adventures family and Bonafide in particular has been coming on strong in kayak fishing. I mean, you guys just signed on Russ Snyder's, one of my good friends and the top ranked kayak angler in the world. I believe he's going to be at some of these events. He might be at this one. But I'm excited about that. And then the new boats here that Billy's got pulled up. I mean, you want to talk us through this PWR, the RVR, the new kind of hybrid paddleboard kayak? It's so cool, man, like what you guys have. So yeah, why don't you walk us through them here?
Absolutely. I'll just give you guys a quick rundown on a couple of these. These are, we have 3 new models that I've been developing over the past couple of years. And, what's so cool about the Susky is that these models are all, going to be great options for the Susky. And it's just what a perfect way to represent. The PWR is our newest boat. It's really sort of a full featured power. It's called the PWR because it's all about power and adding motorization. So, you can motor it from the bow or the stern. Obviously, if you're river fishing, the stern is the way to go. But, you have all the rigging options. You've got the junk drawer, the super high seat. You have the integrated rudder now, and this boat is designed to really move both track and really pivot and move through current water as well. So the PWR is just our kind of a big full tournament boat these days. And then you got the skiff, which is the SKF. And that is really like kind of a more casual, versatile sort of throw and go kind of boat. I call them all boats at this point. So they're kayaks, they're boats. But the skiff is something that's really like, it goes in super shallow water. So really wide displacement, lots of standing room, lots of versatility. You can motorize it if you want to. You can throw foot braces on there if you want to. You can fish it with a cooler instead of the seat. So you got a lot of options on the skiff. It's really versatility and simplicity. And that was something that just kind of popped out as like, hey, we got to do this. So that was one that we brought out at ICAST, and then we're having a blast with the skiff. And then the main one, the one that when I think of the Susky or the New River, for example, I mean, the RVR is the boat for that, for those kinds of water environments, and it's aptly named the River. So it has an integrated skeg, same as the skiff. The skiff and the RVR both have integrated skegs for tracking, but the RVR is really designed for moving water. It has a little bit lower seat position, so you can do a lot of maneuverability. You can eddy into current, into eddies. You can pull, carve out of eddies. You have integrated anchors, so you can set up your anchor wizard the way you want. And all of those things are meant to really be compact and sort of get you moving quicker. When you're river fishing, you're moving fast. You can't be messing around with stuff sometimes, because you may need a paddle in one hand and you've got the rod in the other. You're trying to get one more cast before you move to the next spot. So that's what the RVR is all about. It's relatively lightweight, easy access, great in current. So those are 3 models. That
I do appreciate how like everything in that boat is like kind of inside it, if that makes sense. There's not a lot of there's a lot of thought put into it, like the anchor trolley, and you've got like the front risers and stuff like that. Because one thing I hate about the River is when you've got like rods poking everywhere, you've got like mounts sticking off to the side, stuff like that. So
yeah, exactly.
If you want to go really compact and lightweight, that's the perfect setup for something like that. So yeah,
it seems like those really are really popular boats down there in Georgia too. A lot of the guys that are going to be fishing the shoal bass tournament, they are in those boats. I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah, for sure. Anywhere with rivers, it's a popular boat. You know, the river category has definitely been, I think, kind of brought back to life a little bit, you know, with new models like that. So it's pretty exciting, man. It's a popular one. I see lots of people in it. You've done a great job with it all. All your boats have these just nicest, cleanest lines, the coolest colors, the color palettes with the pad kits matching it. I mean, it's definitely obvious you've done this for a while.
I love the like the deck colors that they have on some of their boats. It really pops, like the teak wood colors on the baby blue. I love that.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. Well, I wanted to say one last thing, Hans. Do you know if we decided yet what boat we're going to raffle off for that event, or do we not know that yet?
I think it's going to be an RVR.
Ooh.
I think we're going to raffle
so
an RVR
there we go.
Yep. So
RVR raising money for pediatric cancer through the Punt Foundation. I'm excited about that, guys. And we just can't thank you enough, man. I mean, you guys have done so much. You believe in something like this from the get-go. I mean, all the sponsors. I mean, good Lord, even GoPro, our headline sponsor here. I mean, them to believe in us from the beginning, that was a huge, huge help to get this thing going. And we feel like this could be just the 6 biggest parties, with the Fiesta on the Susky maybe being the biggest. I mean, it is the Fiesta, right? So can't wait to see you there, buddy, and do some demos, get some people out there, have some fun, share a drink, share some coffee, whatever with you, and just have a good time.
I appreciate you guys doing. I appreciate you putting all this together. And honestly, the Susky is going to be a great spot for it. But this is how I like to see kayak fishing really happen, so that we can get together as friends, as friendly competitors. And I don't typically do a lot of tournaments, so I'm entering this one. So I'm going to be in there. You'll see me out there. And I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to camp out and hang out with everybody too.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Well, thanks, man. Appreciate your time. We'll let you get back to designing, and we'll catch you, I'm sure, down the road.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Thanks.
See ya.
Thanks. All right. Next up, we have one of my favorite segments. I didn't know, going into these live streams, I didn't know this was going to be one of my favorite, but being able to talk to local, not just someone local, but a local leader in the community that really gets involved, from if it's from the tourism community or whatever, which happens to be this one. But we've done this now for every event. And why don't you do a little bit of an introduction here with Robyn, and I'll bring her in.
Sure. And Robyn is amazing, guys. She worked for the Bradford County Tourism Department. And, like the others that we've had on the show, when I called Robyn up, just kind of, hey, Robyn, cold turkey. You always wonder how it's going to be received. Is this going to sound crazy to them or foreign? And Robyn just got it. She was like, wow, this is perfect, with the theater being right there and the Riverfront Park being right across the street. They have all the pieces literally right there. And of course, the biggest piece of all, the incredible river with amazing fishing. So Robyn, I mean, how excited are you guys to have us, in Towanda, Pennsylvania?
Oh my gosh, are you kidding? We're thrilled. And yeah, I love those calls because we are crazy up here. We're really proud of our river. We're really proud of our towns and all that it can offer. The Susquehanna, the North Branch, was River of the Year last year. So any opportunity we can have to get people on it, enjoying the outdoors and time with their family, we're all about it.
Yeah.
So we're glad that all you guys are coming. And Hans, who doesn't really do tournaments, watch him roll up here and win the whole thing.
Yeah. You never know. It's just, hey, it's 5 fish over a day and a half of fishing. So anything can happen when it's just 5 fish, Sometimes you start getting into 3 days of fishing and then it's 15 total fish. I mean, yeah, but 5 fish kind of keeps it where anybody really can come away and win these things. Obviously, you got your favorites, you got your top anglers, but still, they would be even more favorite if it was a 2 and 3 day event. But this day and a half with just 5 fish, it definitely brings kind of anybody in the game. So Hans, look out, man! You could be taking home some cash, selling some kayaks, and demoing some kayaks and whatnot. So it's going to be a good time for sure. And our visit there was incredible. I mean, the fishing was amazing. Look, I'll actually pull up a map of the area because it's just Billy, I'm going to pull up this map up and share my screen, okay? Because I just want you guys to see how close it all is together. It's really going to be a great spot for this. And here we go. I'm going to share my screen. And right now, all right, guys, check this out. So we're in Towanda here. You guys got my screen, looks like. All right. So I'm going to click over to the satellite image because I was blown away when I looked at this town, and when I looked up the theater is literally right here. The Keystone Theater is right here, a block away from the water, and your office is right here, even closer, Robyn. And then right across the river is the park we're going to hold our festival at, our opening ceremonies and closing ceremonies festival. And so what's really cool and crazy, but people might do it at the festival. You can get in your car and drive, over the bridge and get to the theater, or you could just paddle your kayak straight across the river, beach it right here, and walk up to the theater for the awards. We're going to have some, I think we talked about maybe even having some ropes there where people can tie off and bring the local police or whatever authorities to kind of be mold around the area, but it's a safe area anyway. No one's going to, walk off with your kayak, but that'd be pretty cool for people to just kayak over to the awards right across the river, I thought. But yeah, tell us a little bit about some of those, tell us about the theater, about the park, whatever you want to kind of dive into, and even touch on the after party location as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really excited. There's a lot of great things, not just for all of you to do while you're here, but your family too. So we encourage anyone to come. It's a very family-friendly area and event. There's tons of things to do here. We have great wineries, great, obviously we're known for our outdoor recreation. We're conveniently located right between Williamsport, Pennsylvania, where the Little League World Series is held, and just south of the Finger Lakes of New York, where Watkins Glen International is, with NASCAR, and of course great wineries there. So we're nestled kind of right there in the hub of everything. So we're known for our outdoor recreation. It's a great spot where you can kind of come and digitally disappear, although your phones will still work, but it's a great time to kind of disconnect and spend a lot of great time with your family. And I think when you were here, Drew, you were able to experience that firsthand with your wife and your beautiful children, to go and experience the Keystone Theater. It's one of 3 historic theaters in our county. So great access, but we've got great restaurants, great people to welcome you, and lots of great parks, where we can have a lot of fun camping and relaxing and having bonfires and food trucks and bands. And so we're really excited for August to roll around and not only get people in Bradford County moving and get them excited about fishing and all the possibilities, but to welcome all of you too. I think it's going to be an amazing time. We have a great restaurant that actually, Drew, that we had lunch at, called the Flying Taco, also right on the water. Great drinks and specials, but authentic Mexican food, incredible guac, great outdoor space, dog friendly, pool table. So there's a ton in the area for everyone to see and do. And it doesn't matter, if you want to just come and enjoy some time with your family, or you want to turn up a little bit, we can handle any and all.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That was an amazing place, the Flying Taco. I think we're going to reserve out the entire rooftop, which is literally just overlooking the river, for our after party. So we go from the Keystone Theater to the Flying Taco, and they have amazing food, drinks, and we can just have fun, play some games, and just watch the river. I'm sure it'll still be a little bit daylight. We can see a beautiful sunset right there from the top of the Flying Taco. So I can't wait. And like you said, the theater is incredible. And there are tons of other
great restaurants too, and other great parks. I will say one of the parks, one of the launch areas, is home to one of Pennsylvania's very few all-inclusive playgrounds. So if you have children that are coming with you to experience being outdoors, but to have an all-inclusive park that really is accessible to anybody, we welcome that. We're ready for it. So we're just excited that you picked us. I think we do have a lot to offer. I think everyone that's coming in is going to really, kind of have their eyes open that they're in our little rural areas. There's a ton to do. And certainly, as you know, the fishing will be top notch.
That's great. Yeah, that park was awesome. Our kids played at that park. We actually put in there. Yeah, there's an river access right there. So I'm giving away a little bit. Some people saw my pictures. I caught some nice fish on that float. So it's you can catch them right there in the heart of downtown, all the way upstream and downstream to the ends of our boundaries, if you will, the 150 miles that collectively between all the rivers and creeks that feed it, that are in bounds for this event. So we can certainly handle a big fiesta at this tournament. And the theater was so cool. We were able to watch the Paw Patrol movie there. That was such a cool theater. So I can't wait for you guys to check that out. And we have listed, by the way, I know you know this, Robyn, all of those other things to do for the family. The park, the state park nearby, the hiking, the wineries, all the other cool stuff is listed on the website, just like all of our events. We have that stuff listed because this is definitely, as everyone that's followed this series knows, a family-friendly adventure series. You can bring the kids. This is going to be during the summer, right before school gets back into session for pretty much most of the U.S. We did that strategically. We did not want to push it another week or two because then kids start getting into school. So we have it on this date perfectly, so you can bring the family along with you. And who knows, you guys, there may even be a chance, we've talked about this, where you guys are holding a potential other like joint festival with the town. Who knows if that is able to work out timing wise, but it could be one of the, if not the biggest event of the entire kayak adventure series. So you won't want to miss it. And anything else you want to add about the area? And just
no, I think just
we're
we're really excited to have you, and we've got great outfitters. I know Keith is coming on soon. He's been a great partner, and he's a teacher here locally as well. So you talk about someone who's a great advocate, a great water trail manager, to keep the Susquehanna a great place for everyone to enjoy, if it's tubing or if it's fishing and kayaking. He's certainly an asset to our area. So we're glad that you've got him on the agenda too.
Yeah, we're not leaving anybody out for this for sure. Everywhere we go, we're going to include as much of the community as we can. I always say this to everybody. We want to leave the area after we've gone there. It's better than the way we found it. Just like fishing a river or when you go camping, you want to pick up any trash you see, leave it better, right, than when you camp or float a river. We want to go to an area and highlight your community and your river, but make it better for the kayak fishing community as a whole, because we have joint events with two other local and kayak fishing clubs that we'll talk to those guys later on this live stream, and just really highlight and promote what they're doing, because we're only there one time a year, and we kind of move this series around, and we'd love to come back there again. And 2, 3, 4 years, we'll see, we'll give it some time, and then let that hunger develop again for it, although there's always a hunger for the Susquehanna. But we want to adventure new places. But the main thing is to continue to just make this area and promote everything that's happening there for kayak fishing just better when we leave it. So raising money for the local river keeper, which we're going to do as well. So that is our goal, and you guys are a big part of that. We can't thank you enough for everything you've done to make this possible, because trust me, guys, I can't get into it all, but every one of our tours and partners has gone above and beyond to make sure this happens, because they see what we're trying to do here, and the friendships and the camaraderie and how we're trying to, like Han said, make something a little bit different in the space of kayak fishing. And we're excited to be there. So cannot wait for August 9th and 10th. Thank you, Robyn, so much. Thank you.
Yes, my pleasure. I look forward to welcoming all of you back, and thanks for having me on. It's been a lot of fun.
All right.
I appreciate it.
We'll see you there.
So much.
Yeah.
And celebrating the night away at the Flying Taco on Saturday night. We're gonna keep you up late, Robyn.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm a night owl. We're good.
Perfect. All right. Like she said, who's our next guest here? I think
it's gonna be a party.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't want to come across like a salty Bengals fan. We gotta. The Chiefs are in the Super Bowl.
That's true.
No, that had nothing to do with our next guest. It was not. Keith did not sanction Taylor Swift being played. That was not an intro for you, Keith. Keith is from Endless Mountain Outfitters, and one of my favorite things when you go on the website, the first thing you notice on their website, and I'll let Drew do a better introduction, but he has time on the water is cheapest therapy, and I love that. Because that's true. When you're out, especially when you think about the Susquehanna and what everything, this part of the country. So while I bring him in, what would you want to add to that, Drew?
I mean, like you said, that pretty much sums it up right there. That's what we're all about as kayak anglers. That's what Keith's all about. I mean, it is therapy. Like we all know, if we don't get our time on the water and get away, we just don't feel right. We need that, So that's kind of like in all of our souls. Every kayak angler out there feels the same way. And Keith, you have been so kind to help us out with this event. And even, I believe we'll even talk about it, even open up in your property for some primitive camping. It's actually a little bit better than primitive, because I think you got some facilities there that can be used. But tell us a little bit about Endless Mountain Outfitters. You are the closest outfitter. I think you do a little bit more rentals than the retail side. But before, actually, I forget, I want to say this now. We will have 5 Mountain Outfitters, the guys that run that further downstream. They're going to be there with some of the boats that they carry that are sponsors of this series. So I know Hans is bringing Bonafide. I can't remember if they carry Bonafide or not. But Keith, you're more on the rental side, running shuttles, and just tell us a little bit about your business there on the river.
Yeah, so I've owned Endless Mountain Outfitter since 2018. I think Robyn said I'm a school teacher, so that's where I'm at now during my lunch. But we do a lot of rental stuff. We put on a lot of big trips. This upcoming year, we have like a group of 100 that we're taking out. We do a youth sojourn for the last, I think this is year 6 or 7, and we've got 70 to 80 kids that go on that. We do a lot of rental stuff. We do some retail stuff too, but that's really not as much of what we do. A lot of guided trips. We put on wine and cheese paddles, and we put on moonlight paddles and so on. So just a lot of really cool stuff. I've got an amazing staff, which again, 90% are teachers. So a lot of rental stuff.
Yeah, maybe a wine and cheese paddle could be going on for any of the spouses, the wives that maybe want to have a little float just to relax and float.
I did hear you guys are doing stuff with the taco and stuff. We actually work with them, and we put on taco paddles, and we do different stuff on the water with them in that stretch right before they get off, where you guys were talking about getting off by Riverside Park and so on. But I think that would be a cool thing to put on maybe that night or something if we can swing it.
Yeah, we'll see if we can't do that. I actually thought about that. It's going to be really warm, so a night paddle could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But when I look at this city, when you guys look at it on the maps, you'll see this. It's pretty cool because you could actually do like a bar crawl from your kayak down the river. You could just keep, you start at the very top, upstream yeah, that's right. Yeah. Upstream, start at the top upstream. You could float your way down. The city's on your right, and you could just stop, grab a bite from here, grab a drink from here, get back in the kayak, float down to the next little access, walk up the stairs, get something. It's a really unique situation right there you guys have in that town. So you feel blessed that you're in an incredible spot. But thank you guys so much for being a part of this event with Endless Mountain Outfitters. And also, I guess let's get into we talked about the camping situation. I mentioned this to you because I know a lot of guys do want a primitive camp, and you said, well, hey, you could even open up, I think, was it restrooms and even showers possibly? I can't remember what you had there.
Yeah, we have restroom and a shower that people can use at our own location. There is a lot of other locations. I saw some different things pop up about like car camping and so on. Between, if you get a hold of places like Hornbrook Park, Endless Mountain Campgrounds, which is just down the river from our location, Riverside Acres, Sugar Run Cabins, Camp Lackawanna. There's a ton of different locations, whether it's for primitive or car or whatever. I mean, there's so many opportunities and so many different places along the river, which is great for me, especially owning a kayak shop, because there's tons of places to stop, whether we're putting on an event or people want places to go. It's awesome to have that, because not everywhere along the river has that opportunity. Yeah,
for sure. So, and if people want to stay there, they can just contact you, and you can get them set up with whatever rate. I don't even know if you know what rate yet. This is a long way away, but that's pretty cool. You're right there. You're only 24, 23, 24, 25 minutes away, something like that from Tawana. So it's pretty close. And you guys are going to be a big part of the event. I know you've got some friends that even maybe fly drones. So who knows, you guys might be helping with stuff like that. And being at the festival, let's just see if we can't, I'm sure people will use you guys. Y'all do, I believe, also run shuttles or help out with some shuttles potentially.
Yeah, people sometimes it's one of the biggest things for kayakers is trying to figure out all right, I want to go this far upriver. How am I going to get my vehicle back down, or how am I going to swing that? And we're kind of an a la carte thing. We try to make things work for whatever people need. So whether that's you want to put in the river and come down, you just need a ride back up, we can do that, or we can shuttle you and your boat and your gear up and leave your car and stuff at the takeout. Or if people want suggestions as far as different takeouts and put-ins and so on, river conditions, because that's always kind of an interesting thing, because and I know everybody's got a lot of experience, but there's a couple tricky parts in that section that people got to keep an eye out for.
No, that's great. It's because
Yeah.
during the practice period, there's a 2-week window of pre-fishing before then, and even before that, they can be on the water as much as they want. I'm sure you're going to get some calls from people that are from out of town that are coming in for the weekend. They only have one vehicle and they just need a shuttle.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. And Keith, if you want to do something cool, if you guys can remember this, I would say starting about 2 weeks before that event, if you can snap a photo of the river right in front of your shop there, post it on Facebook, your Facebook page or Instagram page, whatever you guys use the most, that would be cool. So people could get, even a short video, real time kind of water clarity and conditions that are happening there.
Sure.
I know anglers will follow that for sure if you do that. So that's pretty cool. Anything else you want to mention before we let you go? Again, we appreciate you being here and being a part of this event. I know you got a class to attend to, but
I just look forward to being a part of this and seeing how everybody makes out. I mean, I know that there's great fishing and more. I mean, people do kayak fishing around our area, but it's something that I think needs to be pushed a little bit more. I think that this might be the plug that kind of helps send that off a little bit more and kind of increase that. We were talking about my website earlier. There's a picture on there of me holding a really nice bass, and the funny story of that is the boat or the fish literally just jumped in my boat. I had no fishing rod or anything like that. It just jumped in, got stuck in the netting behind me.
Does that count?
I took a picture. From what I understand, as long as you take a picture, it counts.
It counts for you. It won't count in the tournament because the rules do say it has to be caught with rod and reel. But that's something to be said about that river.
You're right. I mean, they're literally just jumping in your boats there. So, I mean, I guess that's a plus. But no, I appreciate you guys having me on and putting all the work into this.
All right, man. Well, thank you for your time. We'll see you there at the party.
Yeah, sounds good. Hey, have a good one.
See you.
All right, Drew. Our next guest is going to start kind of a string of anglers that are familiar with the area, familiar with that water, and there's no intro music because he doesn't need any intro music. Our next guest doesn't even need an introduction. It's Jeff Little. So I'll bring him in. Anything else you want to add to that?
I mean, yeah, like you said, we could waste the whole 10, 15 minutes introducing him. All he's done within kayak fishing and pioneering the sport, working for Boonedox now. Previously with Torquedo, as many of you know, his affiliation with that brand and what he did for them. But now, dude, pushing the envelope with kayak fishing with Boonedox, I'm representing right here. And Jeff, I mean, incredible angler, one of the legends, pioneered the sport. The Susquehanna well. Just wanted to have you on to chum it up a little bit, talk about that river and, anything you want to say real quick before we bring the other guys in about Boonedox and what you got going on lately.
Sure. I'll touch on Boonedox quickly, and then I want to tell you what I know about that section of the river.
Awesome.
So with Boonedox, I mean, you guys know the landing gear and the T-bone are probably our two best sellers. We've been doing stuff with the console here recently, which is a way to, have a rod stager or multiple track mounted stuff out in front of you, and people, yes, put two graphs on them if that's what we're doing. I'm not going to do that on a riverboat. Someone will. But we're moving in the direction of some products that are going to make events like this, I'm going to say, more affordable, but really it's the focus is to have the gear for truck, trailer, camping that makes it easy for you to stay as close to the water as you possibly can. And what that does is it reduces your lodging cost, but it's also, you get more time to fish if you're truck camping right next to the water. And for sure, the property that he mentioned with the Endless Mountain Outfitter sounds like an ideal place to use some of the products that we're working on. And I'm going to be vague about that, but think overlanding plus kayak fishing where they meet. That's what we're working on. Let's talk about that section of the river. I will put in this disclaimer. I do not have much time on the water up there. What time I do have on the water is with my friend Chris Gorsuch. with Real River Adventures. You can probably do a search on YouTube and find videos that I've done with him. Chris has been a friend for a very long time, and he has a camp up there. He's actually a jet boat guide, but he's also, he was on the Wilderness Systems team with me back in the day, and he's a kayak angler, but he also does, his full-time job is he's a jet boat guide. So he has a camp up there that I've been to a few times and fished up there. I will tell you the difference between what if you fished closer to like Sealands Grove, Harrisburg, that area, you basically have 3 different bands of water from Duncannon downstream. You have the Juniata band, which is somewhat clean water, but it's usually spewing a lot of that wild celery, or people say eelgrass. It's not eelgrass, it's called wild celery. A lot of vegetation in the Juniata. The middle band is the West Branch that is usually really clear. It's clear because a lot of historical acid mine drainage that actually makes it less fertile of an ecosystem. But West Branch is for sure come back and is a stronger fishery, but it is clear water. The other one is the North Branch, and it is traditionally, muddier. It's the muddiest side. So if you're fishing down, say at Liverpool, if you're on the bank where that big mountain is on the east side, you're dealing with North Branch. I don't want to say mud, but it's turbid, and that's coming down from where we're going to be. So I'm bringing it up just to say that you don't, if you go up there and you expect clear water and you see if it is muddier, don't worry about it. Those fish are professionals at finding mad toms, crayfish, darters, hellgrammites, whatever it is up there in that more turbid water. I don't know that it necessarily picks it all up north of there up in New York, but it's on average a more turbid river smallmouth fishery. Crankbaits for sure. It is a wonderful crankbait river. Crayfish crankbaits, if you need recommendations, even like a man's baby 1 minus that just goes right below the surface, but spray paint it olive or black, something dark, something that's not baitfish scale, profile. And well, the profile though is just that very round, wobbly crayfish motion. So
I'm showing some of the boundaries right now while you're talking, and I was there in the summer, and it's clear in the summer typically, but obviously a rain and it could murk up like you're saying, which could be a good thing for the fishing. That's really a good thing if it's a little bit stained anyway. But it's a little bit different than the Susquehanna around Harrisburg, which is a popular destination for kayak fishing, in the fact that there's not as many of those ledges and shoals, but there are pools and riffles and other, like the Chemung River right here joins it, which is in bounds as well. It's just a little bit different, but there are lots of islands and cuts and chutes and creeks. And of course, all the creeks are in bounds as well. But you'll get to some pretty cool and wild places and lots of islands and fun stuff. And there's definitely some rapids like, and riffles. They look more like this, like they're like a sandbar comes out and they just get swift right here. And then eventually we'll flow into kind of a pool, but there's a lot of fish there, I'll tell you that. And we're going to bring in Jeff. Do you have time to stick around with us for a little while, or what's your schedule like?
Sure. No,
I'm bringing in some other anglers so we can just talk about all that. That was a great preview, and that's cool that you fished this section a little bit. And Chris would be someone that we could bring in possibly if he's interested to do a seminar on that Friday on our breakfast seminar series. So and he's someone that you guys should definitely reach out to potentially do some guided trips before there's a point. I believe it's before that 2-week window. If he's still doing trips and does guide trips, there's a point where you're allowed to legally, take a guide if you want. So
good luck with that.
Yeah.
Like trying to get on his books is I don't know that you're going to do it. Like he's that good.
That
He's,
busy.
you know, there's an evolution of guides where you start out and you just, you know, you're struggling to fill each one, and you're happy if you get about 30% of your calendar filled out. But he's done it long enough that like he has his regulars, and if there's a cancellation, you might get in there. But you know, his content, you know, whether it's videos that I've done or he's been on podcasts or just
Look him up. Yeah.
research Chris Gorsuch. He's
Cool.
someone
All
who
right.
I look up to quite a bit as a river smallmouth angler.
Sounds like a good resource.
Yeah,
sounds like a great resource for sure. All right, let's start with let's bring in we'll kind of bring these guys in like fast, and then once they're all in, we introduce them. We will start the discussion about how we feel like this event's going to be won, some of the strategies, some of the things that, you know, just the fun kind of talk about the event itself, the fishing part.
Yeah, we'll start bringing them in. I also wanted to just bring up real quick. Someone had asked a question, Pi Squared. How come we don't have James on the? James was on the show.
He was on. He was on the show. The Shirley-Palooza episode.
Was that the one I wasn't on?
I thought. Yeah, maybe
Okay.
it was the one that Crescent Kayaks is the sponsor of the first event.
Yeah, that was the one I
Shirley-Palooza.
wasn't on.
So James was on
wanted
that
to
one.
answer that question real quick.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we have a bunch. We have Dustin, Jordan, Ryan. What are the things you had said something about Jordan having an epic day on the water?
Yeah.
And maybe he can tell that story. But Drew, what was? I mean, what happened?
Yeah, so Jordan, when he saw this was announced, like so many others, that he reached out and was like, "Dude, that area, he fishes it, and it's pretty epic fishing, as he can attest to." And he sent me. He was the one that I alluded to earlier, a little foreshadowing, that was out there, and it was like you said, it was 40-something degree water, and between two of you guys caught like 100 something, like in the high upper hundreds, and you had 98, 97, 98 inches was your limit, your biggest five, but you had over 90 inches many times. So yeah, tell us about that day real quick, and how excited are you for this event?
Well, sorry, man, I muted you because there was an echo.
Now we got him.
Yep.
Is this
Now
so
you're back.
bad?
Go ahead.
I definitely enjoy being up there. I mean, we sat in one spot and just anchored up, and we didn't move till noon or 1 o'clock, I would say. And we were over 100 fish off one anchor. Like, there's just sheer number of fish up there, and it's awesome. I know a guide up there he's actually the longest active guide in Pennsylvania. He's been guiding full time for 41 years, and he guides out of Wyalusing, and he catches over 10K fish a year. And then I think this year he had like 1,316 fish all catch and release. And there's so many northern pike and muskie up there. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. So Wyalusing's kind of down where, I think, closer to Endless Mountain Outfitter, so just downstream of Towanda, not far at all. So that sounds epic, and your day was epic. So you're certainly, I think one of the favorites for this event. You've fished it before, and we'll probably have to put a camera on you on Friday, just to see, if you're on some fish. So we'll put a little pressure on you. So we're excited to have you at the event. And
to be honest, everybody's going to catch a limit, and everybody's going to catch 20 calls. Like, so the fish up there, they grow long, really long, like, because it's smaller river. They don't get big, like fat, like the lower Susquehanna. They're skinnier, longer fish. Like those, we caught multiple 20s that probably were only 3.2 pounds. Like, they're different, but they fight the same. They probably fight harder in current than the big ones do. But either way, a 20-inch smallmouth is a 20-inch smallmouth. So
yeah, they score the same on the catch board, right, for a kayak tournament. That's perfect. That sounds great. So, all right, let's get into Jordan. We'll mute your mic there for a second. You're having a little bit of feedback, and then we'll introduce the next guest here. We'll just go with Dustin Theobald. Hopefully, I said that right. And Dustin, what's up, man? You're a kayak angler yourself, and you're with the Northeast. Kayak Anglers of Northeast Pennsylvania, if I can get that correct here. And I'm going to unmute you. There you go, unmuted. And yeah, tell us a little bit about how excited you guys are to have a joint event with the Kayak Adventure Series. And I mean, how much fun are we going to have on that section of river?
Oh man, I'm thankful for the opportunity to be on, Drew. And yeah, we are very excited. For most of us in the Kayak-Anglers of Eastern PA group, this is going to be a new area of river for us. We do fish the North Branch quite often, but not quite that far up. So it's going to be a good opportunity for us to try something new. Hopefully it fishes similar to what we're used to, but it's always good to get out and see new things and try new places.
Exactly. Hey, that's the whole point of this whole Kayak Adventure Series, to explore new places and get out and adventure. So we appreciate you guys, doing a joint event with us and promoting it. And hopefully we can promote what you guys are doing, because Kayak-Anglers is an organization that, if you guys go check them out at kayak-anglers.com, I believe, and you got multiple chapters all over, the Pennsylvania, Northeast Ohio, where I live, is a big chapter here. Shout out to those guys. And I fished some events locally, and the Western PA Kayak Anglers group. You got a Central, and you raise money for charity. And that's the one thing I love about, shout out to Noah Heck, one of the original founders, a good friend of mine who helped me with the River Bass and Tournament Trail. Shout out to him. But yeah, you guys definitely are killing it. You're a great organization, raising money for charity. Explain a little bit about that real quick, and then we'll bring on the next guest and get into the fishing about the charity component.
Yeah, charity is really big for us. So depending on which chapter you're with, some chapters will host strictly charitable events only, but for every AOI event, which each chapter hosts 25% of all the entry fees are donated to that specific chapter's selected charity or charities. Everybody has a different group that they work with as far as their charities are concerned. And, it's just really good to give back to the community, give back to people in need, whether it be kids or veterans or, anything in between. And that's what really drives us. We try to make our events fun and friendly and welcoming to people. And part of that is to be able to raise more money for our charities, because that is very important to us.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's awesome, man. Well, thanks so much. And we'll dig into some fishing talk. And whenever any of you guys, by the way, who are here to talk about the fishing need to leave for any reason, you can just bounce out. No problem. All right. Next up, Smalley's #Smalley's Rule over here, representing the Ashegan brand with the sweatshirt and the Crescent brand. There we go. Durbecker's represented on that as well. And of course, myself, Crescent guy. So Ryan VanTine, what's up, man? How are you doing? You're representing the KeystoneBass Kayak Series. Let me unmute you. Sorry, buddy.
All right. You're good. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Excited about this event. You guys are doing a joint tournament with us as well. So tell us about your organization and how people can double and triple and quadruple dip on all these tournaments for this one big fiesta.
The start of this season is going to be KeystoneBass Kayak Series second year with the River Trail. 2 years ago, Ben Leah, who runs the Lake Trail, who is the head TD that started all of it, he approached me about starting a river trail, and I'm like, you know what, like, that's something I would love to do. I'm a river rat. Drew, you've seen where I'm at. I live in between three moving water bodies, and I love smallmouth. So of course I jumped on the opportunity, and then how this all tied in, I reached out to you, Drew, like 2 or 3 years ago about I was just gonna hop in my truck, load up, and go catch some shoal bass. Like, I knew you were from Georgia. I was like, just give me like a general area of where I could maybe possibly go catch some shoal bass. And you were like, hold off on that if you're making a big trip, because I might have something happening here. And lo and behold, here we are. Kayak Adventure Series come out. So I was like, oh, that is exactly what he was talking about. So to see the North Branch for our trail, it is new for us. I've personally never fished out there. I mean, you got to realize in Pennsylvania, there's so many small bodies of moving water that, like, you don't have to go far to go fishing and catch a lot of smallmouth. So like, I live on the western side of PA, which Kayak Anglers, they have a western chapter out here, and like we really don't step on each other's toes ever because, like I said, there's so much water out here. And I've fished the Susquehanna maybe 4 or 5 times. Now I'd love to like go out there and spend a lot of time out there, but it's 3.5 to 4 hours depending on where I go. So to see the North Branch on there and have the opportunity to like one of Dustin's guys could go in there and triple dip on this and go home with like 6 or 7 grand or something crazy, like all kinds of money. or any of my guys. And then
so is your home water the Allegheny or?
Yeah, I would consider my home water the Kiski River, only because where I live on the Allegheny is so far south in the larger pools that they don't they fish okay, but they don't fish well. If you can recall, the bass had their thing way back in the day, and they didn't catch any fish. I mean, it was the fish, just the current and the sheer size of the water. It's just almost. I don't want to say it's impossible.
They did that where they could run bass boats, not where, jet boats.
Kayak fishing on the Allegheny where I live, just people ask me all the time, how do you the Kiski or my little gem that sits beside my house that's a lot smaller of a body of water, but I'm not going to talk about it. If you follow me, you know where I'm at. So
Kiski's good though. Shout out to Neil and Evelyn at River's Edge Kayak there. So those guys have been great for many, many years, and appreciate all they've done for the sport. And
for the river too. That river, if you do some research on the Kiski River back in the 80s, that river was orange, and Neil and Evelyn had a huge part on restoring that body of water. Shout out to Kiski Watershed Association. So a group I volunteer with on the regular. I would take my kid with me and just do a lot of cleanup and stuff. It's a great area to fish.
Pennsylvania is unreal. How many rivers and creeks that are amazing fishing you would have to pass just to get up to the North Branch or anywhere in the Susquehanna isn't unreal, honestly. So it's funny. This tournament is one of the only, I think it's the only one that doesn't have a lake in bounds, because there just isn't even a lake nearby, and no one's going to go to the Susquehanna to fish a lake anyway. You want to be on that river. So this is the only one that's a river focused event. Hans was smart to pick this for Bonafide and the RVR. That was pretty cool. Choice from him. And we're excited to have you guys there, both of your organizations holding joint events. So your registration is right on the page. I'm going to share it real quick again so people can see it. And when you have your Attorney X, go ahead.
I want to jump in real quick. We ran into technical difficulties this morning. Ben was on there, had it live, but we had a technical difficulty with Dwayne. So ours is going to be live at 4:30 or 5 o'clock. Just check in on it. And on that, I'm going to do this out of my personal stash from one of our sponsors that I buy a lot of their baits. Whatever angler signs up for your KAS and for ours, both of them, the first one that does it, I'll send a little goodie bag of 412 Bait Company and Scared Fishless too, for just some river baits. I'll send some things that they've got. Some Scared Fishless has some really good swim baits, and then obviously 412 Bait Company. I mean, they have my personal favorite is their stick bait for smallmouth. I'm a wacky rig guy, so I'll send a bunch of different things to whoever signs up for both the KeystoneBass and for the KAS. Any K, I mean, if you sign up for micro bag, whatever it is, if you're registered on there, I'll send something out.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for doing that. And you can see the registration buttons are right there. Actually, they were off a little bit. I just fixed them on the website. They were off by a little bit. But you guys triple, double, triple, quadruple dip, and you guys said something about someone is going to be walking away with, like 6-7 grand. I think it'll be more like 10. Honestly, I really do think it'll be more like 10 grand by the time, if someone actually entered the, there we go. I fixed those buttons. If someone actually entered the team division, the individual division, and the Kayak-Anglers of Northeast PA and the Keystone, which if you're there already, it's just one big party. You might as well enter them all and see if you can't walk away with, 5 figures. I definitely think it's going to happen. So exciting stuff. Let's bring in the last guest, and we'll just really get into the actual fishing strategy conversation, and we'll just kind of chat about it here. Let me pull this screen away. All right. And we'll bring in Kevin. Kevin, what is up, dude? From 5 Star Heating and Air. We got a cool story to share about how you and I met, and then why you've got 5-star heating and air listed underneath there instead of, just on here talking to us as a kayak angler, which you are. But yeah, man. So you want to tell the story or how we met? Or
I can start it out. Can you hear me out?
Yeah, we got
All
you.
Right.
Good.
So I'm Kevin here, 5-star heating and air. I'm my home ground here is the Susquehanna River. So I'm in Pottsville, Pennsylvania, Schuylkill County, about 100 miles south of Towanda. So it was last year when I was signed up for the MAKBF event, and that was the same as the Hobie event. And I think we had, all but 300 anglers on the river at that time in that stretch for, that was 2 years ago. And as I was coming down, it was the first day of the event, I believe it was that Saturday. And as I was coming down through a hole that I usually don't hit on the east side of the bank, and I wasn't going to, but I saw an angler over there and kind of, poking up and down, looking at me, we were kind of just jeering back and forth. And this isn't common for me to see 300 anglers on the river. It was very packed. Anybody that's been there, it was very busy. So Drew ended up paddling over to me, and just a grinder. I could tell this guy was a grinder. He has beat up gloves. He's muddy, like head to toe, has dirt all over the mud, grass, everything in the boat. And he had asked me for what was it? A spinning rod. I said,
Yes.
Hey, do you have a spinning rod with some mono on it? And it was very funny because I had one rod with mono on it, and it was a local rod that I had purchased. It's called IRT reels, and this thing is a $500 reel, right? So, I just got into fishing this year. This is my first year kayak fishing. I'm like, do I give this up? Like, who is this guy? I don't know. I said, well, where are you launching? Where are you getting out? Like, how are we going to work this out? And you're like, no, it's okay. I didn't give up the $500 the reel, and it's been on the shelf since. It's actually a shelf piece, but at that point I was like, I had to look into who this was, and I was like, oh, this is, you told me your first name at the time, and I didn't know you at that time as the angler you were and are. And so I started researching. I'm like, oh, it's true. And he was in third place. I'm like, darn, why didn't I hook him up? Why didn't I give him that reel, that one reel I had that would, the rest is history as far as me and, getting involved with you and just reaching out to you for, what I'm going to offer from 5-star.
Yeah. You're helping a kid get a kayak. You're helping basically because of your, subsidizing for that kids division. If you'll notice, 5-star heating and air, it's a company you own and run there. And it's more of a regional based brand, but which is why I brought up earlier in the show about if anyone, for sponsorships wants to be a part of this, even if it's just for a particular event, if you don't have a national reach, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Because we'd still love to have, just regional partners, but you just believed in what we were doing. You believe in the youth, movement that we're trying to push to with, developing that kids division, that youth division, if you want to call it that. And because of your contributions and with what Crescent Kayaks was able to do, we're able to give a brand new kayak. I believe it's going to be that Primo that James Durbrecker talked about on that original show he was on, to each of the, children, the youth that win that division. I think it's like 16 and under division. So you're going to get a kayak from Crescent and 5-star heating and air. You guys are seriously to thank for that, because we couldn't do a kayak for every single event if it wasn't for you guys. So we appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you. And you're welcome. And hopefully, the kids take it like I did for fishing. It goes back to who was on earlier. It's a good group to be with here today, because even going back to Robyn, the community outreach, when I saw you starting the KAS, I thought this is incredible, to have, no limits, kind of just free range in what you do in these rivers and lakes and stuff that are all attached. And, the best quote I've heard, this is part of my fishing spirit is, time on the water is the cheapest therapy. That is the reason of giving kayaks for me to, be able to help the youth, because I know how beneficial and how impacting it is for me. I stood up and my wife were in the office here, and I said, Tiff, did you hear this? You got to hear these guys. This is what it is, so I'm glad to be part of this, event. And it's, we're a small business. We have a few employees. We just started a couple of years ago. And, these are the things that I want to be able to give back to and help our youth. And my son, he's 10 years old. We have a couple kayaks, and he's been out with me only twice or three times in the past year and a half. And, he just committed yesterday that he would be willing to, get into this tournament. So really cool.
Awesome.
That's what this is about. It's about my children too, all of our children. I love what you do as far as, it's an influence. It's everybody here that has influenced me. You give back constantly for, charitable events and, donations and stuff like that. And I'm a small fish in this big river of guys, and, not just guys, but this kayak community. So it's cool to be a part
absolutely,
of it.
man. Well, that's cool. Excited. If you need any heating and air work done and you're in that region of Pennsylvania, trust me, these guys will take care of you. And you now know who he is actually as a person, as a human being, which is really cool. So, man, that's awesome. And to cap that story, I'm gonna explain real quick why I met you there, why I was asking for a spinning rod, because you're thinking, well, that's crazy. Why didn't Drew have? So I moved locations during that tournament. The very morning I started out at one spot, and a bunch of kayak anglers were all over the stuff that I normally fish. And I mean, I went upstream 2 miles, torpedoed up, and then all of a sudden I was like, or no, that was back when we didn't have the motors in the tournament. So I paddled all the way up like 2 miles, and people were all over my stuff. So I literally got out of the river. I had like nothing going on because there's just too many people there, and I got out and moved locations and just didn't pre-fish that area at all, but I stumbled on this giant school of smallmouth. There was like 100 of them out randomly in the middle of the river eating bugs. And when I took out that first spot, I broke my spinning rod. I typically don't bring, I just bring like one spinning rod. I power fish mostly. I don't really need the spinning rods, but these fish, unlike any other fish in pre-fishing, happened to be eating bugs, and they were on the surface, and they were all staged in different directions, like a foot below the surface to the surface. And all of them were jumping up, eating bugs or sipping on bugs. I had nothing to throw at them. Now, fortunately, I ended up catching them with a crawfish jig. Ended up not really needing the spinning rod, but it was very much a challenge. And then the next day, long story, whatever, like it all fell apart. I went to a different spot first to get some fish. I lost some big ones there. Then I went to my sight fish out in the middle of the river there at that spot where I met you, and somebody else was sitting right on top of them. They'd been fishing them all morning long. Weren't even in the tournament. It was, oh man, I fell to like 20th place. I barely caught a limit. It was like, because I thought, I got 100 fish. Later in the day, I can go to these 100 fish. There's 20 inchers were out there, 15 to 20 inchers, and I'm going to win this tournament. And then sure enough, like, you wouldn't think 100 fish would just poof. Like the guy was sitting right on top of them all. So anyway, but it wasn't you, it was somebody else. So you didn't like go back and, somebody else. And I don't even think they were in the Hobie tournament, but they were in a canoe and looked like the dude from Carl's Bait and Tackle, honestly. So, but thank you for your willingness.
There was definitely no motors. There was definitely no motors.
No.
That's what I remember of seeing you, was literally blistered and beaten and battered from hiking up the Susquehanna 2 miles and back and forth, within the first couple hours. And like I said, that boat was a mess.
That was a fun tournament. That's a great section of river. That was a lot of fun. But let's talk about the North Branch, where we're going to be with all the anglers who are still on here with us. So guys, what do you think? I mean, this event, we've heard Jordan's story, just one day, it was a much different time of year, but he said they had around 98 inches. I mean, I think 100 inches is possible. We're giving the anglers a day and a half. I know the summer won't be as, I think it's the big fish are a little bit easier to catch, as we all know, sometimes in the cooler months. But I think the numbers are going to be there. I think the inches, like you said, I mean, they maybe aren't as fat, but they're long. I think between that day and a half and all the water, we could do it. Someone could maybe hit 100.
I think the last episode you guys did, you totally touched on that Friday night thing. I think that's going to be a hit with this series, especially for the summer and on the river. I mean, that evening, as soon as the sun drops down behind the mountain, man, it's like lights out on any moving water in Pennsylvania. It's unreal. So I think that's going to be cool to see what gets caught Friday evening. That's going to be really neat to see.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Dustin? What do you think the chances are to get 100?
Yeah, I mean, they're there. The fish are there. It's just a matter of finding them. The North Branch fish is a lot different than what most people know of the main branch of the Susquehanna. So you're going to have to put in some work. You're going to have to put your thinking cap on. But if you know how to fish, I was muted. Okay.
We heard you.
Yeah. Okay. But they're there. You're going to have to filter through a lot of smalls. There is a lot of volume in that river. And you're going to have a good time regardless. But yeah, you should definitely be able to put together a very solid limit over the day and a half for sure. And you know, the likelihood of some nice muskie being caught is probably pretty good too.
Yes, for sure. Anybody have any thoughts on? There's two things I want to bring up, but I'll do one at a time here. What about how far north those boundaries are, up into New York, even? Do you guys feel like it fishes significantly different up there, or could that water up there be a player, or is it the further down you go, you think it might be more of a player, or do you think it just all of it could just any of it could be a winner?
I think it comes down to feeling comfortable and spreading out and not having just a bunch of people right on top of each other. If you want to run way north to try to or way south, you know, just or up in one of the tributaries, whatever is open, I think, you know, finding your comfort zone in spreading out, I think is going to be a factor more than just, you know, is it this section that's the place or this, you know. And I think that pre-fishing, you know, to just sample a bunch of different sections is going to be good, and just figure out, all right, you know, where can I pull away and not be right on top of a bunch of other people. So
right. Yeah, I agree with that. And because we have so much water in bounds, and like you touched on, that was my next question. What about the tributaries being a player? Because you can, in Kayak Adventure Series, you can portage over, you know, natural obstacles like a log. You can portage around rapids you're not comfortable with. There's some pretty big tributaries that you know, feed into here. But bigger fish, you know, the bigger the ocean, the bigger the fish sort of thing. The main river probably has the maximum length, but could a tributary be a player? Could it be a 4-hour Friday window player? I mean, what do you guys think about that? Kevin, you have any thoughts on tributaries and stuff like that? You guys ever fish any of those in your section?
Yeah, I'll tell you, some of the best fishing I've ever done, now going back to being a teenager and waiting and stuff, is when the waters rise in tributaries and you get that, it covers the rest of the structure on the bank. Big basket, very, very aggressive in there, right where they spill into, you know, the main tribs dump in. But once that water, if it rains, I mean, rain's a big factor with Susquehanna. We see it, you know, time and time again. It plays a huge role on all the islands. But tributaries, when they slightly get higher, like almost to that flooding area where they get high in the banks, fish get very aggressive in those areas. So, you know, it's bittersweet. You kind of, I hope for rain, you know, a lot of times at the river, so that's, and I do think we will, because of the 2-day, you know, I do believe we'll be right there at 100 inches. I think it's going to be, fish are getting bigger and bigger to Susquehanna.
So I'm going to drop one summertime pattern that works on, if you can find it.
Everyone listen.
Well, August, the water's hot. If it's low, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be shallow, and those oxygenated areas where you do have the riffles are going to be, you know, active feeding zones. But one that a lot of people overlook, and this started with Drew talking about tributaries. Some of them are spring influenced, and all of them have a greater tree canopy, keeping a smaller body of water more shaded. So when you have a small tributary coming out, there's probably going to be a gravel dump right at the mouth and maybe a deep spot right below. And in the summertime, you might have to fight the muskie off. If it's oozing out that cool, you know, cool spring fed or just canopy, you know, tree canopy, you know, shaded, cooler water. And it doesn't have to be a big creek. It can be a small one. Just keep tabs on the water temperature, because in August, especially if it's low and clear, you know, you want to notice that, because you can have a bunch of big fish stacked up in one spot. I mean, I know, you know, I've spent a lot of time on the Shenandoah, and we have the muskie and the largemouth and the smallmouth, all in that system. And the muskie in particular really knows right up to those spring influenced creeks. But I can think of, you know, different sections of the lower end of the Susquehanna where it's just like, I can't find them. I'm going to go over to this tributary and whack them. Just get 2 or 3 big ones, and then just kind of see if I can, because I know they're there. So spring influence, small tributaries, canopy, cool water. Find your cool water. Find your oxygenated water. For sure your riffles. And sometimes the oxygenated water. This is a weird one, and I can't tell you what the vegetation situation is up there. But when the sun comes out, if you have subaquatic vegetation, once it gets sunny, it's highly oxygenated water by that vegetation. So
vegetation, that's vegetation,
right. Spring fed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Quick update. The Tourney X pages are live now. Amanda said she thought she had them live, but they weren't showing up. People were commenting saying they weren't showing up live, but now they're live. So you guys can go register and sign up now and be part of that first 100, which will receive a $100 gift bag from all of our sponsors, $100 worth of product. So that's interesting. I actually, just so everyone knows, I will have to leave at exactly around 12:30, but that's about when we'll end anyway. But if you guys want to keep talking, Billy or Jake, if you guys are still on, you guys can keep rock and rolling. But I will say, ask this quick question. Or it's more of a prediction. I actually feel like this event will be the first event where someone will get a 25-inch micro bag. Hit it on just hit it right on the nail on the head, 25 inches. Because when I was up there, this is when I practiced micro bagging for the first time and realized how much fun it was. Again, micro bag is our division you can enter. That's $25, 5 smallest bass with a minimum of 5 inches. So 25 inches is that holy grail sort of number you want to hit. So when I did it, it was the most fun I'd ever had. You can take some of those side channels that normally you wouldn't go down because the water is so low. You even have to drag and get out of your kayak, and it's just not enough depth for a real big fish to be there. It's just trickling through like you're in a little small creek. You'll see these pods of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-inch bass that are there. You got to make the right cast, and you can sight fish them, and it's not as easy as it sounds. They're spooky, but you certainly can catch them. It's not like crazy hard to catch them. They're obviously small fish, but you have to have a very accurate cast. It's a really fun challenge because if you don't get it close to the 5 or 6 that you're going for, a 5 or 6-inch fish, a 7, 8, or 9 is going to come get it if you miss that accurate cast. But there's enough of them. There's enough small bass just all over that river to where I think someone's going to weed through, whether it's 100 fish or 75, they're going to weed through and get 5 that are 5. And I think someone's going to get that 25-inch bag at this event. So I'm looking forward to that.
It comes down to how early they spawn. If we get a warm end of winter and an early spring, can you get young of the year that get to 5 inches by August? Maybe. It's sort of a reach. Otherwise, you're dealing with last year's young of the year, and I think they would be on till that 7, 8 inch range. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
High Spirit asks, is Jeff fishing or filming? I will be filming.
Yeah, I'll be there filming, and might do a seminar there. I don't know if I've got you listed for one there, but that would be a good one to do a seminar if we need someone there as well on Friday for that seminar series. Don't forget, we got the 2-man team division. You can enter as well, $150, $75 a piece. So I know a lot of you guys are going to take advantage of that. So again, with the Kayak-Anglers of Eastern PA and the KeystoneBass Kayak Series, I mean, you can enter them all. Someone did ask me this question: can I enter the team and the individual? Yeah, you can enter the team. You can enter the individual. You can enter the micro bag. You can enter the Kayak-Anglers event, the KeystoneBass. You could enter it all. So definitely take advantage of all those. Now back to the fishing though, guys. I mean, any other things you can think of, strategy that people are gonna, I don't know.
I'm gonna hop off real quick. It was nice being on. Thank you guys so much for having me on, and I will see you guys all in August, catching some smallies.
See you then.
See you, buddy.
Take care. Drew, one question before going back to the team. Is that going to be, or we choose your teammate, or is that a random as you fill?
You choose. Choose your teammate. Yep.
Okay.
You can go on there.
Great.
And one person sets up the team. We talked about Amanda Brandon with Real Tournament Management told me about it. One of the last episodes we talked about, it's pretty easy. I don't know. See, there we go. It's live now. Someone has registered.
Cool.
So again, you go on there, you click register for the team division, and then the person after your teammate, now that you're registered and you got your team name built in there, essentially the teammate chooses connects you with the captain of the team who set up the team. It's pretty easy, $75 a person. So
Yeah.
that'll be each of your 5 fish, so 10 fish total. And it's just a great way where people, if you're far away, you can ride together with that, partner. You can strategize with them. You don't have to fish together, but a lot of people will choose to fish together because you are allowed to communicate on the water. You can't call people on cell phones, but you can communicate with other anglers on the water and get tips. Some people choose to fish together. That way, if they figure out what's going on, their teammate, they can help them. Now, if you're also in the individual division, you got to remember you're also helping someone that could potentially, jump you in the individual, but, at least that team, gives you that option. And some people just can enter the team division because it's $75 a person, right? $150 per team. So that's only $75. If you don't want to put the $150 in for the individual, the $75 for the team, the micro bag, the side pot tournament on Sunday and all that, and adds up to, $200 something, $300, especially when you add in the Kayak-Anglers tournament and the Ryan's tournament with the KeystoneBass. So if you just want to come be a part of the party, the fun, the festivities, and enter just the micro bag or the team, it doesn't cost a lot at all. So speaking of which, the Kayak-Anglers event, how much does that one charge? I forgot to ask Ryan how much his events are, but I'm sure it's $50, somewhere around there, maybe.
Yeah, it's we do charge a little bit extra for non-members. If you're a member, it's $40, but if you're a non-member, it's $55. That's just to help cover extra expenses, insurances, and things like that.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to throw in with the Kayak-Anglers is we are human powered only, no motors. So please keep that in mind if you are going to sign up with us. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to use your motor, but that just kind of helps keep us more approachable for more people.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and that we talked about that. That's going to work well with our series, really, because in this particular tournament, because you don't need a motor to be successful at this event. This is the one event that the motor is not like I would argue it's not some, big advantage at any event, depending on your style, of course. But this is the event for sure that if you're going to double dip into your tournament, you want to not use the motor to be legal in both of those events, which again, I can see a lot of people not using a motor at this event just because it's shallow, it's summer, and but there's definitely will be people that do. So yeah, keep that in mind.
I can see pretty much all our events being pretty friendly to no motor. Like we did Ozarkana last week. Like if you wanted to fish that without a motor, I can't tell you how many times I've floated those rivers down there without a motor. I mean, sometimes I just don't feel like taking it. Yeah, it's just like what do you need it for,
motor,
right?
Yeah, exactly. So well, good deal, guys. I don't know if you guys have any last minute thoughts about it. I think it's going to be fun. There's really not a lot to cover because we don't have all the different lakes and bounds like the other tournaments. It's just the river. We've talked about the river, the tribs, what we think it'll probably take to win, probably in the upper 90 range, if not 100. And we've talked about the party on and off the water. So I can't wait to see you guys there. Last comments, anybody speak now. All right.
Just real quick, thanks so again for letting us. Yeah. I was just saying thanks again, Drew, for letting us jump on with you. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're bringing to the kayak fishing tournaments. I really like your ideas, and I think it's going to freshen things up a lot.
Cool, man. Thanks so much. All right. Well, I guess.
All right, everyone. That's it. We're going to wrap this one up. The Fiesta on the Susky. Thanks again to GoPro for sponsoring the trail and Bonafide for sponsoring this event out in Pennsylvania. Have a good day, everyone.
Peace out. See ya.